Hello, welcome back to another Ruffa Sports Cards video. In today's video, I have a very unique concept, especially to this channel. I don't think many people, if anyone's, talked about an entire number breakdown of when you sell a high-end sports card on eBay. So, if you haven't seen the last video, make sure you check it out. I'll have a screenshot up here. And yeah, so I bought this Brock Bowers and sold it, and now I'm in the process of actually shipping it out and all that. I wanted to make a video or two or three about the purchase and the sale and all that, and the numbers behind it and all that. It seems to be a lot of what the favorite content on here is, obviously. It's hard to come up with unique number situations given sports cards and all that, but let me know if you have any down below. But before I get started, this video is brought to you by the channel membership program. Make sure you join down below. It costs $5 a month, and we currently have 4 channel members. I appreciate very much. So this is at the time of me recording. There might be more after I have spoken all that, but LJ52, Volcano Joe, Junk Card Dog, and Michael Debates, all 4 channel members. I appreciate very much so, and I really hope I can add your name up here along with the others of the channel membership program. You join, and then I add your name. It's as simple as that. As long as it's appropriate, it'll come up here. And yeah, so this video is brought to you by the channel membership program. And back to the action here. Brock Bowers, Kaboom, vertical PSA 9. These are hobby exclusive. This is a Pop 6, one higher. That PSA 10 hasn't surfaced yet for public sale on like an auction place like eBay or what have you. That shows the recent comps and all that. And I got this sale. Technically, before we get into what I sold it for and all that, let's talk about what I purchased for. I bought this card for $1,000, and the big thing is that most people probably, this last sale was $1,600 on this card and a PSA 9. There was a vertical Kaboom Raw. That was raw, had a surface indent. So I got it from a good deal from a friend, and I kind of talked about that in the last video that I did on this card and the purchases I did from him. But nonetheless, I had sold this card for $1,650 on eBay. I also charged a shipping fee because I figured the fees were going to be astronomical on a high-end sale like this. Those fees that I saw were even higher and even more crazy than I could have anticipated. So now I guess I have to do kind of address my eBay store and situation, all that. So I ran 2% ads on every single card that I sell. So I put 2% ads on this. I have a starter store subscription, so it's like the $8 a month one. And I'm an above standard seller, so in general I have 13.25% standard base set fees for eBay, and then on top of that I have a 2% ad fee, and then on cards I believe over $300 you have to do a authentication fee. And yeah, so that's kind of where it got me and all that. I forgot about the authentication fee, would be an extra cost, but nonetheless, let's get into it. So the buyer bought this card for $1,650 plus about $10 shipping, and when all was said and done, the order total was $1,816.65, which is absolutely crazy because I am seeing nowhere near that dollar amount for this sale. So what did that number all equate to when all was said and done, and what did I make off of selling a high-end sports card like this Brock Bowers Kaboom? The eBay collected sales tax. So that buyer number of $1,816.65, eBay collected sales tax of $156.75. So pop that up here somewhere, and we have our running total and all that. But that wasn't even the highest total dollar amount removed from that number. You have your standard selling costs, so that would be transaction fees, shipping label, and then ad fee as well. That would be equating to just standard transaction fees are $241.11 there. The shipping label cost me $36.07, and that equated to UPS priority or USPS priority shipping for $9.90. Ship cover insurance, because I sure am not losing out on this much money, $25.10. And then the signature at delivery when insuring for that amount is $3.70 of an extra charge. And luckily for me, a little bit, eBay has discounts for shipping, so I saved $2.63, but the total shipping was that $36.07. The ad fee that I had for 2% fees was actually more than the shipping, which is pretty crazy, $36.33 there. So our total order earnings for the Brock Bowers would be, after all the fees and all the taxes are taken out, all the sales tax, should I say, is taken out, order earnings was $1,346.39. But that's not all of what we get to keep. There's this beautiful thing called Uncle Sam, the IRS, and taxes. So people always talk about, oh, but you don't make that because you have to pay taxes, so you're actually losing money, yada, yada, yada. Well, this is the part of the show where I say, do not take financial advice from me. Ask an accountant, get a CPA, get a financial advisor, whatever, CPA, financial advisor, however you ask for your tax advice. I'm pretty sure you have to ask a CPA for tax advice, but nonetheless, ask a CPA for tax advice. That would be what I say. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to anything I say in the future. And here we go. So you pay taxes on the profit and not the actual revenue or the sales that your business incurs. The profit. So because I bought this card for $1,000 from a friend, I then would subtract that from the total revenue to me, and that would leave me with $346.39. And typically most accountants, most CPAs will say on a standard basis, set aside money for your accounting purposes, for tax purposes, and then when your tax season comes, there's a lot less burden and a lot less worry and a lot less financial risk involved if you have just a sole account of money set aside for taxes. And usually the range of taxes for a business would be 20% to 30%. So for this particular deal, taxes that me as a seller would potentially pay, I just put at 25%. Ask a CPA again. So I estimated about $86.59 and repeating 75 there. And now we get to the actual total profit after taxes that I will pay myself is $259.71. Now I will show my little very cool sheet here of math equations, and you might be wondering, is that it? That's all you want to say? No, I'm going to say, oh, this is crazy. The realization of just the high-end market online, especially eBay. If you do, you know, standard seller store, starter store, and then ad fee, and then you're forced to do authentication through them and all that. Here's the rundown of what the difference is between buyer and seller. Now, obviously, this number is very easy to equate. It's the total number that the buyer would pay. So the buyer paid $1,816.65, and as a seller, I earned $1,259.71 after taxes, after fees and all that. And that would equate to a difference of $556.94. Poof. Gone. Kaboom. Pow. Into existence. Brock Bowers. From a PSA 9 to a PSA wine. And a WHINE there. Not even the good kind of wine. But, so, here we go. The ratio here that I kind of just created is a lost in translation ratio. So on this high-end dollar amount, the lost in translation, from buyer to seller, is crazy. It's even higher for a seller, but the buyer ratio percentage that he loses is 30.575,289%. So about 30.65%, 66% there of his total expenditure is going to sales tax and fees on a buyer perspective. So imagine if eBay started to cut down. They said, you know what, we're going to do 5% fees, drop that down to 10%, and then you have this buyer, then having the ability to actually purchase at a very small rate. This might be a topic for a future video, because it could probably even get him down on a buyer lost in translation ratio to about, maybe, I'm guessing off the top of my head, 12, 13, 14% if they dropped it by 10%. Now, that could be even lower. I don't know. I haven't done the math off the top of my head, I'm just doing it off the top of my head. But what's even crazier is, as a seller, the actual lost in translation ratio from you having to pay taxes, the buyer having to pay taxes, yada, 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 yada. It is 44.211763024823220 percentage. Pretty much, it's 44.21% there. But imagine going to say a card show, and then on every single transaction someone said, you know how you sell cards, and I host this event, I might take a fee on top of that, so that then you lose out on a total percentage of your 44.21% if you happen to sell a $1,600 deal, plus the seller or the buyer has to pay sales tax and all that, yada yada yada, right? I'm just kind of giving an example, but that would be bonkers. Obviously, eBay has a lot of eyes. It is the biggest eye and biggest traction marketplace probably for sports cards. But after doing that, I have very low hopes and low expectations for eBay, especially for eBay on high dollar value cards in the long run at all. When you're losing 44% of the buyer's purchase money to get to you, like the entire translation, lost in translation, the entire fees, taxes, yada yada yada, when you're losing 45% to sell on eBay, I just rounded it up, but when you're losing that high of a percentage, it just does not make sense to sell super high-end stuff on eBay. unless if maybe it's just one that's not super liquid, one that you got to find that right buyer for, maybe one that, you know, something or the other where, say you might have bought it when, let's just say this card right here was $5 back in the day, and you bought it, graded it yourself, got a 10, and now that card is, you know, upwards of $2,000, you know, someone like that. That would make sense, where the 45%, why not? I post it on eBay, do one trip to the post office, only worry about it getting from the post office drop-off to the authenticator, and then I'm done, out of my hands, and eBay takes care of the rest of it. But in terms of just in general, the outlook of what that would mean, if, let's just say, that buyer would have been at a card show that I was at, if I would have had that stickered at last comp, let's just say 1600, that buyer would have looked at it, said, maybe would have offered, just because that buyer can. But if he really wanted it, he's going to look at that card, say, done deal, $1,600. All you have to do is pay for taxes there, and that would be what, 600 times 0.25, so that would be, let me just do that real quick, and it'd be $150. So I would be netting $450, which then the only lost in translation ratio there would technically be the buying cost, the table cost, maybe some food, maybe, you know, but that might equate to all of your inventory and all that. But the big thing I'm just trying to say is, if you're selling high-end stuff on eBay, stick away from it. Stray away. If you like, don't touch high-end on eBay with a 10-foot pole, unless if it is that one unique card. You got to find the 10 buyers that aren't going to be in the same room as a card show, you know, at a card show with you and all that, and, you know, yada yada yada, right? Now, am I ever gonna get into high-end stuff? Probably not. At these prices, it's just too much hassle and headache to actually do for me. It's too much to, like, I mean, this card was in a slab mag when I got it, but these kabooms are very beautiful. Like, not gonna lie, like, I mean, like, obviously it's just the shockwave factor, right? The shockwave, it's just literally a shockwave. Kaboom, like, it's kaboom. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't see anything like, I mean, I understand, like, it's just like when it's shining, man. But at the same time, like, am I gonna spend a ridiculous amount of money to make a tiny amount of money? No, I am not gonna do that. I'm not gonna spend the 90% of comps that somebody wants on a kaboom to buy it and then sell it to somebody at 95%, make 5%, $5 for every $100 I spent. You spend $1,000, you make $50. No thank you, not for me. This was literally probably a once in a long time possibility for me to do, so I did it. Am I gonna do it again in the future? I mean, if the right opportunity presents itself, sure. I honestly think Brock Bauer's high-end stuff, especially certain stuff of his, is a sell right now. I already kind of talked about that earlier. He's going to get a new QB. That might have a nice small increase in price. But if it's a rookie QB, Shador, Cam Ward, once those cards come out, those two players' cards are going to be also demanding a market price. Then you have Max Crosby. Then you have Brock Bowers. Are we going to grab a Ashton Genty? Are we going to grab, not like, he wouldn't get there. I just mean, like, if we grabbed, like, Jalen Milroe and Ashton Genty, right? If we grabbed Jackson Dart and Ashton Genty. It's just, when you consider the things that might equate to Brock Bowers' price. He needs to have a better than Travis Kelce career, and that's 3 Super Bowls. And he also isn't dating the world's most famous woman, arguably the world's most famous woman, in Taylor Swift, right? So if Brock Bowers starts dating Jenna Ortega, maybe maybe we're talking at an actual sustainable, you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't have to do fully, you know. But I think certain cards of his are definitely nice holds and could see a nice raise in price, especially depending on what he does in his career. I just think his high-end stuff is already baked in so much of his actual, you know, ceiling that for me it's a sell. I don't know. I don't see fully. I don't know. It's so hard for me to grasp and get behind the actual idea of, I don't know. I just mean, like, I mean, obviously Brock Bowers is going to be a generational talent. He's going to do amazing things, but, it's just going to be difficult. But nonetheless, this video is all about high end and why it's going to be going extinct and all that on eBay. And that is the reason. 44.21% seller ratio gone into existence. If you're buying and selling sports cards, high-end sports cards, I wouldn't do it on eBay. I mean, technically the eBay authentication is all right. I mean, I don't know. I've heard some horror stories about that, all that. And yeah, so I'm gonna end up getting this video out and edited for you guys. I just thought that was absolutely crazy that after all is said and done, a $259 profit and $556 is poofed into existence. And, well, I mean, obviously I just wanted to share the numbers behind these big ol' transactions. And, you know, if genuinely someone like, I don't know, like Roth cards had to start selling on eBay. Let's just say every one of the high-end guys stopped buying cards because they finally realized how crazy it is to sell on eBay these high-end cards, and that's what they're paying prices for. You know what I mean? It can all collapse and tank, and it could be something where, I don't know, it could be something, but that's all I got for now. Gonna get this card out, maybe record a couple more videos with it while I get to enjoy it. But for now, that's all for me, and kaboom. Just joking. I hope you have a good one. Take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one. Deuces.